I have known Rodney Privette for about 7 years. I knew of him when I first moved to Rolesville, but it wasn't until I started with the Rolesville Chamber that Jenny Rowe walked me over to the fire department and introduced me formally to Rodney. And from the moment that I met him, he made me feel like we had known each other for years.
Firefighters are part of a brotherhood, sisterhood group. And what Rodney understood was how to lead firefighters, both volunteer and paid. And so he was able to, over 2/3 of his life, be part of a department that grew and also provided excellent fire services for Roseville and the area surrounding Roseville.
I've known Rodney since childhood. We both joined the department in 1975. He got on a little bit before I did, and we trained in many fire service classes and operations, answered many calls together over the past 47 years. I served as a board member for about a decade lately since I was put on, and he was the chief.
As a liaison with the fire department, I attend all of their meetings and I report back to the board. One great thing about Rodney, he would call me before the meetings to make sure that I was on the same page, I had received the emails, that I knew what was going on. He wanted to make sure that I was in the loop and totally prepared. Any questions that I had, he would answer beforehand. So he wanted to make sure that I was conveying the right information to the board, and that I was, if there was anything that they needed to be aware of, that he knew it before I even got there.
One of my most favorite things about Rodney was he understood the importance of bringing people together and food. And rarely was there a meeting that went by that Rodney didn't recognize how important it was to bring people together and the importance of food and sharing. And so if there was a meeting, typically there was food involved.
When you went in to speak with him, even though he was busy, he would greet you, "Good evening, young man, what's going on?" Or "Good evening, young lady," or "Good morning." And he never hesitated to stop and listen to you attentively. In fact, he had a monument plaque on his desk that said "The Listener," and that's what he did well. He listened, and he listened attentively to people and did everything that he could to make things better for everybody.
My memories most vivid of Rodney is he was among a group of about 8 or 10 of us men in the community that every year we'd go down to the Daytona races in February, and it was like a getaway for all of us. All of us were involved in the community and different businesses and whatever. And so he was always a very, very good fellow to travel with. You had no problems at all getting along with him, and so that really is my most vivid memories as a friend, as a traveling companion, and as also as a local businessman who I dealt with in the town of Roseville, dealing with insurance for businesses.
He was very active in purchasing 3 more properties to grow this fire department, and we do have land slated for 3 more fire departments. He was just a leader in that. Anything for the fire department, he was definitely all about trying to make this department grow, and like I say, he dedicated majority of his life to this department to make sure it was a success. He knew everybody wherever you went. It was you knew you were going to spend an extra 30 minutes because he knew somebody and would have to tell a story or talk, and it was just interesting listening to him. But he always had the statement, he goes, I know everybody from Sligo to Manio and anywhere you want to go. And that was a true statement, because we would go off even up in Virginia, and he would know people, and they would know, is that Rodney Privette? And he is definitely missed. I said, I received several letters from people all across Wake County and people definitely from the community of Rolesville. And we want to try to make sure we dedicate him to his true heroism and just the honor that it was to know him and have him as the chief of this fire department.
Yes, our parents started the agency in 1962, and Rodney came on board in 1977. So, yeah, quite a while. Yeah. And then I came later in 1988. But yeah, so he started out and he got his life license. That was his focus, and he loved the life and health industry. He loved to go, like he said, sit around the kitchen table and
eat dinner with his
clients.
clients.
Talk life insurance, and he really enjoyed that aspect of getting to know his clients and being able to feel like he helped them with their needs for life insurance.
I'm very, very proud of my dad. As far as business sense, he was one of the hardest working men I've ever met, and was always on the go, always busy and helpful to everyone. And that's kind of something I've always wanted to, take on too. But that's the biggest thing. I can tell you without a doubt, almost every time we sat down to dinner or something, his phone would ring and he'd have to answer it because it was business or helping somebody. So yeah, he was very hardworking and very dedicated to this town. Extremely selfless. My dad was an extremely selfless person. He put everybody else before him. I think for me it would be just how he grew the fire department. I mean, when he started, it was all volunteer staff. It was all volunteer staff until 2000. Like the first paid staff didn't get hired until 2000, right? So and he loved to tell people he was born and raised here. He never met a stranger. I think one of the biggest memories for me was everywhere we went, literally everywhere we went, he either ran into somebody he knew or he met somebody, and always made people feel good and welcome, and especially if they were new to the area, he'd tell them all the history of Rolesville in a little 15-minute blurb. So he was fun.
Yeah. He was the oldest teenager in Rolesville.
Yes, that was his tagline, the oldest teenager in Rolesville, because he had fun. Even though he was very business and very work driven and very motivated to grow, Rolesville, he had a lot of fun. He was a jokester and he loved to dance. He loved music. he had a lot of good hobbies, even though he didn't get to enjoy them probably as much as he wanted to. But that would be my, and just like I said, just loved everyone. Like I've just never, it's amazing to see how many people have smile, like you said, when they talk about him, and have told me keep that Privette smile going, which is crazy that you said that, but yeah.
And we have to mention his Rolesville barbecue chicken.
Yes.
He loved
every Sunday Rolesville barbecue chicken. Yep.
He loved, that was one of his favorite things to do, was cook on the grill for the kids, have them all over, the grandkids, and it was the barbecue chicken, just like the firemen always cook for Fireman's Day. Yep. So
his knowledge is going to be missed a lot. Aunt Teresa was even saying that. So many people have come up to us and said, well, who am I going to call now when I need this, or I want to find out about this? And, he had so much knowledge about this town and about the people in the town and how the town works.
Yeah, we took so many phone calls from people, and they're like, well, I just need to ask Rodney a question because I know he'll know this, and there'll be some just random, a question that about the history or something that no one else really knew, and so yeah, I think people in general will miss that. I know we certainly will.